Welcome back to the CoolFigurez channel. I'm your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector. The information on the channel is intended for adult collectors and not children. And today we are going to be taking a look at the brand new NECA Toys Phantom from the classic pulp comics. But first, if you're new, then welcome. This channel is all about cool action figures, analyzing them, hunting them, taking pics of them, and of course, playing with them. If that's your sort of thing, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon while you're at it so you stay notified when I do upload new content. And if you do enjoy this video or any other content that I put out, please remember to give them a thumbs up. It is free and easy for you to do, and it really helps the channel grow. With all that out of the way, guys, once again, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new NECA Toys Phantom figure from the classic Phantom pulp comics. So yes, guys, we have had a release of this guy previously, and no, you have not seen that review on here yet, keyword yet, because I did pick him up after I picked this guy up. So he was a figure that I wanted to pick up previously, but due to some circumstances I had to pass on him, mainly because I was getting another figure that day and I just didn't have the funds, and so I passed on him. But I was able to acquire him recently as soon as I got this guy, and for under retail. But for that story, stay tuned for that guy's review. I'll have all that in that review. But today we're talking about the classic Phantom. That Phantom that we're talking about previously is the Phantom version from the 1980s Defenders of the Earth animated series, whereas this one is the representation that we got from his own classic comics from back in the day, where he was a little more violent and not so kid-friendly compared to the Defenders of the Earth 80s cartoon version. So this guy comes with a lot of great accessories, I have to admit. Now, I don't know the name to the skull, I'm sorry, but I do know that it's the skull of the first Phantom's dead father, which he swears an oath on to kind of basically be Batman, like no one will ever feel this pain again. And so apparently it's a lineage that passes on from father to son, and this one in particular is the 22nd Phantom in that lineage line. And so yeah, it kind of just goes from there. He goes on some cool adventures, some crazy stuff. I haven't read any of the comics. I just looked up his background on YouTube. I've checked out Variant Comics video on him, and it was very informative, and I hope that I come across one of those graphic novel books with his stories in there one day at a decent price, and I can go ahead and pick it up and read through it. But yeah, guys, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and take a look at everything that this guy comes with, because like I said, he comes with a lot of stuff. He is in fact holding most of it, but not all of it. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at the alternate hands that he comes with. So he does come with a pair of trigger finger hands, so you get a right and a left. He currently has the left one in. You get an open holding palm hand right there to hold the skull. You get a right-handed C-grip hand. By the way, you only get one right-handed open palm hand as well, and you do get a pair of fisted hands. And the cool thing is the hands do have his rings on them. If you didn't know, he uses a pair of rings. The one with the skull right here marks you for death, while the other one marks you for good fortune and his protection. So yeah, that's pretty cool and interesting, and really cool for NECA to include that into the sculpt. And along with the guns, you do also get a pair of muzzle flash bursts for each gun, so you do get a pair of two, which we will take a closer look at right now, because that is everything that he comes with that he's not currently holding on to or using. So why don't we go ahead and pull the Phantom forward and take a nice closer look at him. And I guess we'll start with the skull, since that's what fell out of his hand first. So the cool thing about this skull, aside from the detailing, the paint work and the sculpt work and everything like that, is the fact that it is an articulated jaw that hinges pretty fucking wide, so that's pretty fucking cool. So that's a really cool feature right there. But yeah, all in all, very just well done. I absolutely love it. It does have a peg hole on the bottom, so you can potentially put this on his head. I have not heated this figure up. I tried to remove the head prior to doing this review, however, it did not want to come off, so I'm not going to push it until I can put him under a blow dryer and make it a little easier. So next up, let's go ahead and take a look at his whip. He doesn't come with a designated area to like holster his whip at all, but I found that if you just wrap it around your finger, you can basically use the holsters to holster it, even without a gun, because the holster itself, it still has somewhat of the gun shape right there, and it'll still hold it right there. See that little piece right there? So yeah, that's one way of carrying it. So why don't we go ahead and pull it out. so that we can take a closer look at it. Let me go ahead and stand him. So taking a look at the base script, it is very well nicely done and detailed. The skull is nicely painted and sculpted, and the whip is wired, so you can have it in any which sort of way. That's why I said you just spin it around your fingers and you can roll it all up. But it is very, posable, and you can have it looking like any which way. You can whip him, you can whip anything, so super cool. Yeah, whip. So moving on to the final accessories that he comes with, and that is his pair of handguns. So you see one in his hand currently, but let's go ahead and pull out his other one so that way we can take a closer look, because they are identical and they are actually really well done. So let's go ahead and pull it forward so we can take a nice closer look. Focus. And as you can see, if it catches the light right, there is actually a tiny little skull right there on the grip, and it's very well nicely painted. The magazine does not come out. The slide does not slide back. Typical NECA stuff, just a gun, but very well detailed, especially with that little skull right there. So he does come with a holster belt that fits both of his handguns, and that is essentially everything that he does come with. So with that being said, why don't we take a closer look at him, because he has to be one of the nicest sculpted figures that I've ever seen when it comes to like human body and muscle tone and all that stuff. You can see some really nice striations in his chest right there. You can see some really good quad work in his back. His back is phenomenal. I mean, you just see the striations and the lines and the muscles all throughout his suit, going through the suit, which is pretty fucking cool. The paintwork on this guy is amazing. No issues whatsoever in my opinion. There's a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow look, very minimal compared to the 80s release, but still looks good. The eyes do glow in the dark, so let me go ahead and try that feature out for you guys. Let me charge up his eyes and try to turn off my lights. It's kind of a reach for me, but we'll try it. Let's see. So it's a bit of a light up feature, nothing too crazy. But you do get a bit of a light up feature, which is somewhat cool. Not that I would ever really use it, especially during toy photography or anything. But yeah, so moving on to his belt, he does have a nice little emblem right here, which is very nicely done. And even on the holsters, he has a little skull on either side. So a lot of great detailing, and he does come with those striped briefs. Unlike the Defenders of the Earth 80s cartoon, he was just in an all purple jumpsuit. So, and you can tell that these briefs were an add-on. This is the same body mold sculpt as the other one, just a darker purple in the paint and these added briefs, but you can tell it's added because it's a softer plastic versus the rest of the body, which is very hard and rigid. So yeah guys, all in all, a figure that I absolutely love. Like I said, I really didn't have any knowledge of him prior to seeing him as an action figure from NECA, but that was enough for me to want him and look into him and see more. And now that I do, I'm super happy and glad that I bought him. However, guys, this guy is at the new $40 price point, so be very aware of that. And he was almost a pass for me, but I just fucking love this figure. It just looks so fucking cool. So yeah, I couldn't pass on him. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and finally take a look at his articulation. So let's go ahead and move his arms downwards and start at his head. He can look all the way to the right, all the way to the left. He can look down that far. He can look up that far. You do get a decent amount of head tilt right there. Look at that. Turn all the way to the side, all the way to the other side. So yeah, really good head movement. His arms will go out to a T-pose. No butterfly joint, but you do get 360 rotation at the shoulder. You do get 360 rotation at the bicep right there. You do get double hinge elbow joints right there, which aren't actually tight or anything, which is nice. You do get 360 rotation at the wrist, as well as hinging in and out. You do get hinging down on the ab crunch and back, which is actually very noticeable. That's my one only gripe and concern with this figure, is the ab crunch portion. You can totally see the light through it, but it is what it is. He does rotate right there at his lower waist. Taking a look at his leg articulation, he can definitely join the cheerleading squad. Look at those splits. Really good. He has a slight thigh swivel at the top. No thigh cut though, just a slight swivel. Whoa, I thought I broke it, but he does kick forward that far. He kicks back that far. He does come with double hinge knees. Let's see how they do. Like I said, for the most part, this figure isn't like stuck or hard. The only thing that was the head, and I'm not going to push it until I can get a blow jar on it. His ankles will go up that high. They'll go down basically just flat, and he does come with a ball rocker joint, and these guys actually do come with toe articulation. That's something new from NECA, right? Maybe the Defenders of the Earth 80s version do come with articulation too, and I haven't reviewed that guy, so I wouldn't know quite yet, but that's next, so we'll find out soon enough. But yeah, guys, with that being said, by the way, I am going to be uploading a comparison video between this guy and the Defenders of the Earth release, so that way you guys can see the differences between them, not only aside from the cosmetic looks, but also in terms of like the accessories that they come with. So with that being said, guys, join me every Sunday morning for Coffee and Toys, a weekly toy news toy talk podcast where we will go over all the latest and great toy news, reveals, pre-orders, and so much more. And join me every Wednesday on Instagram at CoolFigurez for Coffee and Toys Live, where I will speak to a new guest every week about toys, toy collecting, toy photography, and so much more. With that being said, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at some really cool badass pics that I took of this guy. And if you did enjoy this video, please remember to give it a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a great fucking day. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. If you enjoyed those pics, you can find the full images over on Instagram at CoolFigurez. And I do have a separate Instagram account for my more thought out, planned out, more edited pics called Epic Shots by CoolFigurez. Check it out if you like what you see. Leave me a follow there as well. And if you guys want to see the unboxing of any figures I do reviews on for this channel, go ahead and check me out over on TikTok at CoolFigurez. That's where I post all my unboxings. And join me every Sunday morning for Coffee and Toys, a weekly toy news toy talk podcast where we will go over all the latest and great toy news, reveals, pre-orders, and so much more. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. But whether or not you're a subscriber, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to me talk about toys. I really appreciate it. As always, I'm your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Thank you so much to this channel sponsor, CoolFigurez Store. Check them out for all your Funko Pop, anime, Pokemon card, and toy print needs. And of course, use code CoolFigurez at checkout for 10% off your order. CoolFigurez Store. Check them out, guys.